Matt wins the die roll and starts us off. He draws and plays a Training Center, which comes in untapped, and casts Soul Ring. Arja's turn has him drawing and playing a Marsh Flats and passing. My turn has a tapped Kazul's Cliffs coming in, and I pass to Max after that. Max draws, plays a tapped Spine Rock Knoll, and hides away a card. Metya draws and plays a Fetid Pools. He then casts Rhystic Study with the mana he has, and passes. Arja cracks his Marsh Flats on the end step, finding an Elegant Parlor, which comes in tapped and surveils him 1. Arja draws and plays a Swamp. He then casts Lotho, not paying the 1, and Metya draws, and Arja passes. I've got a Command Tower for turn, and cast Arcane Signet, not paying the 1 either. Max draws, plays an untapped Hollowed Fountain, and follows our example, casting Azorius Signet and not paying the Rhystic Study trigger. Metya draws and plays a Reliquary Tower. He then casts a Maskwood Nexus and passes. Arja draws and plays a Plains. He goes to combat after that, and hits Metya for 2 with Lotho. In his second main phase, he then casts a Ruin Raider. Moving to his end step, Arja gets a Ruin Raider trigger, revealing Author of Shadows, taking 5 and putting it to hand, and then passing turn. My turn has a Swamp coming in, and I cast Silvala, paying the 1, and then pass turn. Max draws and plays a Glacial Fortress, casting Captain America in his main phase. He also pays the 1, and passes after the Captain resolves. Metya's turn has him drawing, playing a Graven Cairns, and casting Sauron. He passes after that. Arja's main phase has him casting a Claim Jumper, with Metya amassing 1 from Sauron and drawing a card, and Arja then goes to find a Godless Shrine from it. He then goes to combat and swings the Ruin Raider at me for 3. I take the hit, and Arja moves through his phases to his end step, revealing a Hollow Marauder from it, and drawing it, putting it to hand, and taking 7. My turn has me drawing, playing a Dragonskull Summit, and casting Coram, paying the 1 for it, and passing. Max draws and plays an Odawara, and then casts Sword of Feast and Famine, paying the 1. Moving to combat, he gets to equip it onto Captain America for free thanks to his ability, and he swings Cap at Metya for 6, who can't block. This has Metya discarding a card, while Max gets to untap his lands. In his post-combat main phase, Max then casts a Smothering Tithe, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study, and passes. Metya draws and pays the 2 for the Smothering Tithe trigger. He then plays a Mountain and casts a Nightscape Familiar. Going to combat, he swings Sauron at Arja for 10, who chumps with the Claim Jumper. Metya then passes turn. Arja draws and plays an untapped Sacred Foundry, losing 2, and then casts Malik. This lets Metya amass 1, and he puts it onto the Nightscape Familiar. With Malik coming in, Arja chooses Metya, and they both pick Sauron after revealing it. Moving to combat, Arja swings Lotho at Max for 2, who takes the hit. Going to his end step, Arja then reveals Curse of Opulence off the top, taking 1 from the Ruin Raider trigger, and then passing turn. I draw and play a tapped Temple of Malady, scrying 1, and then going to combat. I swing Coram at Max, but no one mills a creature, so Max just takes the hit for 3. I then cast Deadly Rollick from Metya's graveyard, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study, and exiling Malik, and passing to Max. Max draws, and plays a Sword of Hearth and Home, and then moves to combat, equipping it onto Captain America for free. Max then swings Captain America at me for 8, which I take, and I discard Multani. Responding to his own untap trigger, Max activates the Spine Rock Knoll to cast Puresteel Paladin, and then untaps his lands, and goes to find another with the Sword of Hearth and Home. After combat, Max plays out a Lion Sash, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study, and then Cloudstone Kirin. Max then moves all the equipments except the Lion Sash onto the Puresteel Paladin, and he then casts a Wayfarer's Bauble. He then passes after that. During his end step, Metya activates Maskwood Nexus. Metya draws and plays an island for turn, and then casts Red Sun's Twilight for 6, destroying all of Max's equipments, his Azorius Signet, and my Arcane Signet. With that on the stack, I cast a Worldly Tutor, going to find a Titanoth Rex to put on top, and with the artifacts being destroyed, Metya gets a token copy of them as well. Matt then moves the Sword of Feast and Famine onto the Cloudsteel Kirin, and then goes to combat and swings it at Max. Max takes the hit, and Metya then untaps his lands. After combat, Metya then plays a Disciple of Bolas, sacrificing the Kirin to draw 5 and gain 5. Moving to his end step, Metya then exiles his artifact copies and passes to Arja. Arja draws and plays the Author of Shadows. He exiles all graveyards, and takes the Sword of Feast and Famine from among them to cast. He follows it up by casting Curse of Opulence on Max, and then plays a Curse of Silence on Mathieu. Mathieu responds by countering it with Force of Negation though, and Arja then moves to combat. He swings the Ruin Raider at Max, who takes the hit for 3. Moving to his end step, Arja gets his Ruin Raider trigger, revealing Gonti off the top and taking 4. He then passes turn. I draw and cast Kedis, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study. Going to combat, I swing Coram at Mathieu, and we all mill our top card. Mathieu chumps with the Disciple of Bolas, and before moving to damage, I cycle Titanoth Rex, putting the trample counter into Coram and boosting its power to 11. The Disciple of Bolas sucks up 1 at that point though, but all of my opponents take 10, and in my second main phase, I then play Max's Arid Mesa, sacrificing it to go and find a tapped Blood Crypt, and pass. Max draws and plays an Inventor's Fair, cracking it and going to find a Sword of Kaldra. He then casts the sword, and follows up Komanu Battle Armor. Max then gears up Captain America with the new equipment, and moving to combat, he swings Captain America at me for 10. I take the hit, and all of my creatures get goaded, and Max then passes. Mathieu draws and plays a Swamp for turn, and then casts Demonic Tutor. He plays a Rakdos Signet, and passes. Arja draws, and goes to combat, swinging the Author of Shadows at Max. Max takes the hit for 3, with Arja playing a Massacre Girl after combat. Mathieu flashes in a Fairy Mastermind to make sure Captain America dies, and Max responds by unequipping the battle armor to ping and exile Selvala, Massacre Girl, and the Author of Shadows because of how Captain America works with the Sword of Kaldra. The board then gets wiped, and after combat, Arja plays Olivia and passes. My turn has me drawing and casting Jared's Order, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study. I bin Anger, and put to hand a Gore Clan Rampager, and pass after that. Max draws and plays a Stormcarved Coast, and recasts Captain America. Mathieu responds with a Mana Drain, and Max then moves to cast Captain America again, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study. Max then moves the Sword of Kaldra onto him, and passes turn. Mathieu draws, plays a Swamp, and recasts Sauron, passing after that. Arja's turn has him drawing, and then equipping the Sword of Feast and Famine onto Olivia, and he then dashes out Ragavan. Going to combat, Arja swings Ragavan at me, and Olivia goes at Max. We both take our hits, with Arja exiling my Underrealm Lich from my top, and making 3 treasures. He also gets a sword trigger, having Max discard a card, and untapping his lands. After combat, Arja then casts Jailbreak, putting Anger from my graveyard, and animate Dead into play, and this animates the Titanoth Rex from my graveyard. Arja then follows it up by casting Gonti, and as it comes in, targets Max and exiles 1 of his top 4. I draw and play a Swamp. I cast Nyxweaver, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study. I then pass, and Mathieu casts Terminate during the end step, taking out Captain America. Max draws, and casts Aurelia in his main phase. He moves the Sword of Kaldra onto Aurelia, and goes to combat. Max swings Aurelia at Mathieu, who responds by casting Cyclonic Rift and bounces Aurelia back to hand. After that, Max passes. Mathieu draws and goes to combat. He swings Sauron at Max to kill him. And with him dying, Mathieu gets to make Sauron his Ringbearer. Mathieu then casts a Blue Sun's Twilight to steal and copy the Titanoth Rex. He passes to Arja once it's done. Arja draws and plays an Esper Sentinel, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study. He then casts a Predator's Hour, with Mathieu responding with a Fierce Guardianship to counter it. Arja then continues by playing a Swamp, and he goes to combat. He swings Olivia and Ragavan at Mathieu, with Mathieu blocking Ragavan with the Rex, but taking 3 from Olivia. Arja makes a treasure, and passes after that. I draw and move to combat, swinging both creatures at Mathieu. He blocks both of the Titanoth Rexes, and in my second main phase, I follow up with a Living Death, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study, but not for Esper Sentinel, so Arja draws a card. The Living Death resolves, with Arja getting 2 planes from Claim Jumper coming in, and with Mathieu's Disciple of Bolas trigger on the stack, he makes a Changeling token to sacrifice to it, gaining 2 and drawing 2. With nothing else, I pass. Mathieu draws and plays a Reflecting Pool, and then recasts Sauron. He follows it up with Gaia's Ghost form, and puts it onto Sauron, and then goes to combat. He swings the Fairy Mastermind at Arja, who takes the hit for 2. Mathieu then also makes his Nightscape Familiar his ring bearer, and discards his hand and draws 4. Matt then passes turn. Arja draws and plays a mountain, and then casts Vile Smasher, Gleeful Grenadier. He then plays Gisa the Hellraiser, paying the 1, and deals 1 to Matt with a Vile Smasher trigger. This has Gisa making 2 zombie rogues from it, which deal 2 more to Mathieu with the Vile Smasher triggers. Arja also loses 1 and makes a treasure from Lotho. With nothing else, he passes. I mill 2 to my Nyxweaver and draw for turn. I then just recast Coram and pass. Matt draws, plays a swamp, and casts Siphon Mind. We each discard a card, and Mathieu draws 2, and then goes to combat. He swings the Nightscape Familiar at Arja, who can't block since it's the ring bearer, and Mathieu gets to loot a card. Once more the ring tempts Matt, and he discards his hand and draws 4. After that, Mathieu passes turn. Arja draws and casts a Hollow Marauder, paying the 1 for Ristic Study. This has Mathieu discarding a land, so Arja draws a card, and the Vile Smasher trigger then deals 1 to Matt, which triggers Gisa, and deals another 2 to Matt with the zombie rogues coming in. Going to combat, Arja swings the Rune Raider and 2 zombies at Mathieu. Mathieu blocks the Rune Raider and a zombie token, but takes 3. With nothing else, Arja passes. I mill 2, draw for turn, and go to combat. I swing Coram at Mathieu, and we all mill our top card. Mathieu then makes a Changeling token and blocks, but before damage, I cast Timur Battle Rage on Coram, paying the 1. Mathieu has Force of Will ready to counter it though, and after it's countered, I exile the Nyxweaver to get back the Battle Rage to hand. I cast it a second time, and Arja responds by casting Lightning Bolt and targets Kedis. Kedis then gets taken out, Coram gains Trample and Double Strike, and Arja makes 2 more zombie tokens, pinging me for 2 as they come in. Coram then connects, and Mathieu dies. In my post-combat main phase, I play a Woodland Cemetery from my graveyard, and pass. Arja draws and recasts Olivia, pinging me for a total of 3 as she and then zombies come in with Vile Smasher and Gisa working together. Arja then activates Olivia, giving his team 2+1/+1 counters, and going to combat. Arja swings out at me, and sadly without enough blockers, I get taken out through combat, winning Arja the game. This video is brought to you in part by my sponsors. Card Conduit is the easiest way to sell your unused Magic cards. Whether your collection is sorted or not, there's an option for everyone. With a payout averaging 19% higher than just using one buy list, you can rest assured you get the best bang for your buck, and you can get further savings of 10% on your service fees by using my affiliate link down below or the promo code MTGMudsta. 401 Games is Canada's one-stop shop for trading cards, board games, and hobby supplies. With a huge selection of cards and sealed product, first-time buyers can save 5% off their first order by using the code MTGMudsta, and returning shoppers can also use the code GOBLINS5 to save 5% on orders of singles. And Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. You can use the promo code MUDSTA or the affiliate link down below to save 5% on your next order.
We sound basically Andrew, probably better known as
Remember, friends are just your friends, nothing more. I start?
Yeah, you won.
That is how that works.
You were the winner.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So Olivia did exactly what I wanted to eventually at one point. I burned through so much of my life at the start of that game. Greatness at any cost. But somehow barely held on in that last moment. I will say, Gisa at the end was very, very impressive. Her ability to just generate so many zombies so quickly is very, very cool. I'd say commander material for sure.
I think working in tandem with the
Vile Smasher, that was a good combination,
Yeah, Coram did really well. I had a lot of like tricks and stuff like that. I got to use them at pretty opportune times, as we saw with killing Matt. Fortunately, I didn't kill Arja at the same time. That's how it goes. But yeah, it was fun playing in the graveyard. Jund. I missed the memo of not playing green 3 colors, but here we are. So I still lost.
We had to hold you down.
They don't know that. I mean, they don't know. Captain America, it's 2024. He died to Sauron the Dark Lord. What are you going to
do? I killed the hero. That's all I did.
Didn't make any files.
Did not make files.
All right. That's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one.
This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, Friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet,